Big iMac Pro M1 Max in spring of 22, says 100% accurate leaker. Of course, Ross Displayman waited until I'd talked about spring to drop this. This episode is sponsored by DataCamp. DataCamp has courses perfect for you from beginner to data pro with its online learning platform that makes acquiring data skills easier and more convenient for everyone. Whether you're wanting to top up your skills in R programming and working with common data structures, optimizing code and writing your own functions, or visualizing data and stories using ggplot2, DataCamp has courses to make you more data literate and maybe even find yourself a new path in 2022. Once you've followed the courses, you can apply what you've learned in the practice sessions or full-on projects to really test what you know. Unlock new career opportunities and become data fluent today. Use my link in the description box below and check out the first chapter of any DataCamp course for free. Thank you to DataCamp for supporting iCave Dave. 100% accurate leaker Ross Young, affectionately known by this show as Ross Displayman, has dropped a new report based on the display panels, stating that the new bigger iMac is expected in the spring of 2022. While most, including me, were expecting the 27-inch model to increase in size with the redesign to a 30 to 32-inch territory, all the latest information points to the next iMac retaining its 27-inch display. That's not to say that the panel is staying the same though. Ross Displayman is pointing out that this will be a 120Hz variable refresh rate mini-LED panel just like those in the latest MacBook Pros. No word on the resolution at the moment, but I would throw my guess in at 6K, in line with the Pro Display XDR and a nice little bump from the previous 5K iMacs. The chances are that this redesign will also come along with thinner bezels and flatter angles too, just like the 24-inch iMac, and it could well be that this panel also becomes the standalone lower cost display. And by lower cost, we're probably talking about $1,000 plus, and probably $1,500. But back to the iMac. We're expecting with this larger model to have the M1 Pro and M1 Max options, as well as those being available in the 24-inch form factor as well. However, the larger body might also allow multiple M1 Max SoCs to run in parallel, the M1 Max Duo for example, for what could be the iMac Pro model, although I'm personally not convinced that the 27-inch will be the biggest iMac that Apple sells. I still think there could be another model, perhaps not releasing until later in the year, that might take up that Pro name. I would point out though that I have zero evidence for this. Render boy Apple Tomorrow, however, who supplies all of the pretty pictures, says that he does want an M1 Max Duo. I'm still pretty convinced that I was the first person to say, probably between like November and January, that Apple's Pro desktops would use multiple SoCs like a Power Mac G5. I really hope I'm right. I'd love to say that the new iMac will rotate like a Pro Display XDR for editing all of those sweet TikTok videos. I'd love to say that the MagSafe charging in the foot of the iMac will charge not only your iPhone but also a better version of the Magic Mouse, trackpad and keyboard. But honestly, I don't think we're getting all the cool things that I invented last year for the iMac. It's probably going to be a bigger, faster version of the iMac 24-inch that we have right now. But is that such a bad thing? I guess it depends if it gets white bezels. And we're going to get into your iCave answers now. So, first of all, Thomas Rundle asks, iCave answers, has data scientist Dave taken any DataCamp courses yet? Actually, yes, I have. So one of the things with getting sponsors on the show, I just want to really quickly cover this, is that I won't take sponsors that I don't use what they have. So, for example, when we did Clean My Mac, I had Clean My Mac on my system for like 3 or 4 months. I don't just throw something out there because someone wants to pay me. The guys at DataCamp have been amazing. They have given me premium access, and I have taken a couple of courses. We'll be talking about those later this week a little bit. But yes, don't worry, I've checked this out. It's pretty cool. Andre Louis asks, hi, this year I purposely purchased a 2020 Intel MacBook Air for gigging. Don't judge. The reason being, I want to leave my much more expensive M1 Max at home. I didn't want it damaged on stage. Anyway, my question is, do you think we'll still get the full 5 to 7 years of OS updates, or die quickly and be an unspoken about Mac in a year or two? Now I've got to say, I'm really torn on this. On the one hand, I think Apple wants to move on to Apple Silicon as quickly as possible. On the other hand, I don't think that Apple is going to abandon people that have bought a Mac in the past couple of years. Do I think that buying a MacBook Air Intel model, unless you bought it like super cheap used, is a good idea. I don't think it is, Andre. I'm sorry. I think the best thing you could have probably done was buy a discounted, maybe a refurbed M1 MacBook Air. Although I do know that there are still some things that Intel kind of does better. I hate to say it, but it's kind of legacy stuff like potentially music plugins, which might be why you've bought it. Now, I would say that I don't think they're going to be abandoned, but I do think it's going to be at the lower end. I think maybe 5 years is going to make sense for anything that was released just before Apple Silicon. And I do think you're going to miss out on a lot of features that come to Apple Silicon Macs in the upcoming versions of macOS, because Apple is going to take advantage of the hardware that they've made and what it can do compared to kind of the light version of macOS that you're probably going to get with an Intel Mac. That's my thoughts. I hate to say it, but I think it's true. Also from Andre Louis, hello, I've been having a strange battery drain issue with my Series 6 watch of late, ever since Monterey and watchOS 8.x. Prior to these updates, my watch would go 2 days with a charge. I'd wake up with around 50% or so. Now when I wake up, it's either dead or around 10%. Strangely, when I went away for a gig and had one machine with me, it was normal. Could it be draining doubly fast as it's always tethered to 2 Macs for watch unlock? I can't troubleshoot this one and it's been baffling me and annoying me in equal measures. I do feel like there's been some weird software bugs just recently, and the Apple Watch seems to be taking the brunt of them. In general, Apple only rates it for an 18-hour battery, so it should kind of only work for about a full day with a charge in there, but mine tends to work. I mean, I'm looking at mine now and it's got about 30% battery, and that's on the second day of use. Honestly, I'd love to give you an answer on this, but I'm not 100% sure. But you might have hit gold there with the 2 Macs kind of vying for attention over Bluetooth. I wonder if the pairing process on Bluetooth uses more battery, just like when your phone is out of signal and it's searching really hard to find a signal. I wonder if the fact that it's bouncing backwards and forwards between 2 different devices and having to do an initial handshake is what's actually draining your battery. I don't know, but that kind of makes sense. Anyone in the comments that's got a similar issue, let me know.
Hi all, there's a really weird echo developing throughout this video, which I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I'm going to cut it off there. I have recorded the answers to the other archive answers already. I will throw those into tomorrow's show. So sorry if there's a delay in getting your answer, but it is coming. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.